Dawson College, majoring in urban studies.
Mr. Dawson, were you with Vanessa the night of September 24th, 2010?
Yes, I was. We went to Chatterbox for a birthday to hear a band play.
So you were with Vanessa to celebrate a birthday. Did you know Vanessa before that night?
Yes, I did. We were in classes together, several classes. We were in study groups. We even shared the same major at Calkins.
So you went to the Chuggies, I believe, the bar?
That's right.
To celebrate her birthday?
Yes, sir.
Well, what happened when the three of you got to the bar?
When we got there, we got a table, and we started listening to the band play.
Did you get there at the same time as Vanessa and Taylor?
No, I actually got there a few hours earlier. I was next door for an interview, and I went back over to Chuggies at around 2 p.m.
So what were you doing at Chuggies from the time you got there to the time Vanessa and Taylor?
Well, I was waiting for Vanessa and Taylor. I had a couple of drinks while I was there. I read my book.
So you mentioned that Vanessa and Taylor got there later that evening. What did the three of you do?
When Vanessa and Taylor got there, like I said, we got a table and then we had dinner and waited for the band to come on.
Mr. Dawson, were you drinking?
Yes, the three of us were drinking. It was Vanessa's birthday, but I definitely stayed within my limit. I had about a drink an hour.
Mr. Dawson, did you know that you were going to be driving that night?
I wasn't positive, but thought there might be a chance. Like I said, I definitely watched what I was drinking and stayed within about a drink an hour.
So what happened after the three of you ordered dinner and you got your dinner?
After we got dinner, the band came on and we started watching.
Did anything in particular happen during the concert?
A little bit during the break. We went backstage and I got to meet the band. They actually went to school with Vanessa and her friend Taylor.
Could you tell us a little bit about Vanessa? How was she acting throughout the night?
She was celebrating her 21st birthday. She was having a great time. She was just having a lot of fun.
And what about Taylor? You were in court when she came up here to talk, right?
Yes.
Well, how was she acting that night?
Taylor had been drinking a bit. I think she had a bit too much to drink. She got on stage and started singing with the band.
So what happened after the concert ended?
After it ended, it was time to go home, so I drove Taylor and Vanessa home.
Mr. Dawson, I want to be sure I understand you. I want to be sure the jury understands you. Did you feel that you were okay to drive when you left Chuggies that night?
Yes, like I said, I definitely stayed within my limit, and I'm a big guy. I was fine.
So what happened when you left the parking lot of Chuggies?
It was raining, and Vanessa said that she needed to get home in time, so we left to take her home.
What road did you take, Mr. Dawson?
Canyon Road.
What was that drive like?
Once we got on the road, it started raining a lot harder. There was water coming from everywhere. It seemed like it was coming from the sky and the ground. There was a lot of noise in the car. Taylor was being pretty loud in the back, and the radio was up. And the rain was just beating down on the car.
So you mentioned it was pouring down rain. The car was loud. Were you still able to focus on the road?
Yes, I did my best to concentrate on the road.
Was that road lit very well, Mr. Dawson?
No, there's really only one light that comes from a porch on the side of the road, and it caught my eye. And when I looked back, there was a deer in the road.
Mr. Dawson, I want to take it a step back. You said you saw a deer while you were driving home.
Yes.
What was your reaction to seeing this animal jump in front of you while you were driving?
I had to make a split-second decision, so I steered the car off the road a little bit so that I wouldn't hit the deer that was in the middle of the road.
What happened next?
I was guiding the car around the curve. As I tried to enter the road, that's when the car started hydroplaning, and no matter what I did, I tried to steer it, I kept control of the car, and it started spinning across the lanes.
Mr. Dawson, what happened after that?
After that, the car hit a pole.
Is that where the crash occurred, Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
So after the crash occurred, what did you do?
I got out of the car and started yelling for help, see if anyone could come help, because...
Did help arrive, Mr. Dawson?
Yes, a person named Lon Bennett had come up, and they said that they'd called 911 and that help was on the way.
Did that help come?
Yes, and an ambulance came.
So what happened after the ambulance got there?
When the ambulance got there, a police officer named Officer Foster also came, and he started giving me these tests.
Well, what else was going on while Officer Foster was giving you these tests?
Vanessa's mom came up, and she was screaming at me. She was yelling at me how she was going to ruin my life, and how she was going to she was going to make my life a living hell. And Officer Foster just kept giving me these tests.
Mr. Dawson, to the best of your knowledge, while the district attorney was screaming at you and while you were attempting to do these tests, were you medically examined before law enforcement decided to run some tests on you?
No.
Mr. Dawson, I've got to ask you, did you mean to crash that car into that tree?
No, it was an accident. I was just trying to not hit the deer that was in the middle of the road.
Further questions, Your Honor?
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dawson.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Dawson, you stated on direct that on the night of September 24th, 2010, you definitely stayed within your limits.